Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Cheryl Yuen. Here's a look at our top stories tonight. John Lee marks National Day with a vow to maintain Hong Kong as a financial and trading hub. Hongkongers flock to claim another installment of their consumption vouchers. And the West hits out as Vladimir Putin incorporates 4 Ukrainian regions into Russia. Chief Executive John Lee says Hong Kong has attained distinct advantages with the support of Beijing and the implementation of the one country, two systems principle. Speaking at a reception on National Day, Lee pledged to maintain Hong Kong's competitiveness and keep COVID under control. Chloe Feng reports.
Hong Kong marked the National Day with a flag-raising ceremony at the Golden Bohemia Square in Wan Chai this morning. Chief Executive John Lee and his wife, Janet Lam, headed the list of 1,400 guests. His predecessors, Carrie Lam, Leung Chun-ying, and Donna Tam, were also present to celebrate the 73rd anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. Helicopters carrying the national and SCR flags took part in a fly-past. While firefighting vessels sprayed water in a salute. At a reception in the Convention and Exhibition Center, Lee said Beijing's support helped Hong Kong overcome difficulties and make remarkable achievements in the 25 years since the handover. He said the one country, two systems is the best safeguard for the city's long-term prosperity and stability. The national security law and the electoral overhaul, Lee said, enabled Hong Kong to move from chaos to governance. He added that the city will never forget China's help in combating COVID. Looking ahead, he expressed full confidence in the NCR's status as a financial, trading, and shipping hub, and vowed to keep the epidemic under control while boosting the economy. Police beefed up security across the city, with up to 8,000 officers deployed. Expo Drive East, next to the venue for this morning's events, was sealed off with water barricades set up yesterday. For the first time, there was no protest on National Day. Chloe Feng, HKIBC.
In Beijing, a flag-raising ceremony in Tiananmen Square kicked off National Day celebrations. The ceremony started at 6 a.m. as an honor guard from the People's Liberation Army escorted the national flag to the venue, saluted, and raised the flag slowly. Many residents in the capital witnessed the ceremony, waving national flags. A patriotic song was then played before the honor guard left the square. Celebrations took place across China. A woman lost all her life savings after a suitcase filled with $6.5 million in cash went missing from her home. The victim, who works in the tech sector, never deposited her money in banks, preferring to keep it in her flat on Gulf Street. She reported the loss early this morning after the suitcase went missing. Police did not find any sign of forced entry to her flat. Hongkongers have flocked to claim the latest installment of their consumption vouchers. Many said it was nice to have a little more money, but it wouldn't have much significance to their spending. Winna Wong reports.
With hotel quarantine scrapped and some extra cash in hand, will Hong Kongers travel more? According to this couple, who just spent over $20,000 on a 7-day tour of Japan, the answer was no. $2,000 won't help us that much, the husband said. We may have used the voucher if they had given us the $5,000 in full, the wife added. Instead, the couple will use the money on expenses like transportation and meals, and they expect it will be used up very quickly. Over 6 million people in the city are eligible for the electronic consumption voucher this round. The second tranche of the $5,000 voucher was given out today, after the first $2,000 was distributed in August. But Octopus card users can only claim $2,000 this time, with the final $1,000 coming between December and April next year, after spending the $2,000. Users of other e-payment platforms, Alipay, BOC Pay, PayMe, Tap and Go, and WeChat Pay can get all the remaining $3,000. At this collection point for Octopus card users inside Shamshui Station, residents were seen claiming their money. This man said he'd be spending most of his cash on his son for new clothes and shoes. The family will celebrate with an extra special dinner tonight as well. Wenna Wong, HKIBC.
Hong Kong's COVID infections today declined to 3,907, including 226 imported cases. Another 122 patients were admitted to hospitals, taking the tally to 1,672. 6 more people died from the virus. Meanwhile, 3 homes for the elderly reported outbreaks, and 2 kindergartens were advised to suspend classes for 1 week after cases were found. Foreign domestic helpers say their $100 pay rise is insulting and humiliating. They argue that they should get better treatment because they have contributed to society and the economy. Chloe Feng reports.
A pay rise should be good news, but foreign domestic helpers signing new contracts are only getting an extra $100, taking their monthly salary to $4,730. Plus an extra $23 for those who are not fed by their employers.
This is so embarrassing and so insulting in our part. I don't think 100 Hong Kong dollar could save us with more of our expenses, especially with our food allowance. Where does $23 goes? 1 meal here in Hong Kong is a minimum of $39, or even you go to McDonald's.
Sir Nande says the Hong Kong Federation of Asian Domestic Workers Unions, of which she's a secretary, has been pressing the Labor Department to raise the wage to $6,100 and the monthly food allowance to $2,500 from just under $2,000 now. Li An, a domestic helper, says she and her peers should also be given consumption vouchers as they have contributed to the economy.
If a household doesn't have a helper, one of the parents should stay home. So only one parent is working. But with the helpers in the house, mom and dad can go to work.
Li An hopes the government can reduce their working hours, as many domestic helpers toil for more than 12 hours a day. Chloe Feng, HKIBC.
Overseas, the West has reacted furiously after Moscow officially made 4 Ukrainian regions part of Russia. Washington and its allies rejected the move, which they described as the biggest escalation since Russia launched its offensive against Ukraine in February.
За нами Россия.
Guests assembled in the Kremlin applauded as the leaders of 4 regions in western and southern Ukraine joined Russian President Vladimir Putin in signing a declaration that heightened geopolitical tensions. Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia, comprising 15% of Ukraine, became a part of Russia following referendums which the West denounced as a sham. Tens of thousands of people jammed Red Square in Moscow in celebration and cheered when Putin delivered his strongest anti-American speech since he took power more than 2 decades ago.
А значит, победа Победа будет за нами!
Putin warned that any attack on the newly incorporated regions will be seen as an assault on Russia itself, and Moscow will use any means available to defend its territorial integrity. The United States, which has poured billions of dollars worth of weapons into Ukraine, issued a warning.
America is fully prepared with our NATO allies to defend every single inch of NATO territory. Every single inch. So, Mr. Putin, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Every inch.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky asked NATO to fast-track its bid for membership and vowed not to hold peace talks unless Russia has a new leader.
A draft United Nations Security Council resolution condemning Moscow has been vetoed by Russia.
Council members have voted in different ways. But one thing is clear. Not a single other member of this council recognises Russia's attempted illegal annexation of Ukrainian territory. Russia's veto doesn't change that fact.
10 council members approved the resolution, while China, India, Brazil and Gabon abstained. Chinese Ambassador Zhang Jun urged all parties in the Ukraine conflict to exercise restraint and not to inflame the crisis. Russian envoy Vasily Nebenzaya described the draft resolution as low-grade provocation. He asked whether Russia was expected to vote in favor of a move that condemned itself. Mourners in the occupied West Bank town of Beit Jala are seeking justice following the death of a 7-year-old Palestinian boy. His parents said the boy collapsed after being chased by Israeli troops.
This is a panic attack that the child can't control his fear reaction. He has an excess adrenaline secretion. He can't suppress his adrenaline. This is an unexplained or uncontrolled situation which he was fall in. So his heart didn't work. Very small heart, very small kid.
Ryan Suleiman was walking home from school when his family said he was chased by Israeli soldiers. They said the soldiers banged on the door, and moments later, the 7-year-old was dead. As Ryan was buried, the European Union expressed shock over his death. Israel said an officer went to the boy's house after seeing some children throwing stones and spoke to the father calmly. Onto the weather now. It will be hot during the day with a maximum temperature of 32 degrees tomorrow. Mainly cloudy with a few isolated thunderstorms. Expected to get very hot as the sun gradually returns after the weekend. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Saturday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Cheryl Yuen. Thanks for watching. Good night.